Always lived in the UK?
Yes, I for a really, really long time um I wanted to live in New York. I think just like when you're young, you just want to live in New
Ah,
York, don't you? So, but having a dog, I never really, really got the opportunity to do that. But I lived
yeah.
in, I've like moved around a lot, but just in COVID, just got so stuck in the four walls that everybody else was in. And then I was doing my own thing, and I was just every day we're going like, I could be anywhere in the world right now. Like, and no, like I don't have to be in this second bedroom in this small flat in Manchester. I can
Yeah.
be anywhere. So, um, when we could, like when it was safe to, we definitely have just got out of the country and travelled, and we haven't really stopped since. To be honest with you.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I was, when I grew up in, like, a small podunk
Mm.
town, in Western Australia, and I grew up pretty poor, so the expectation of me actually even leaving the country was really low. And so my wife's American, she studied abroad over there, and that's how I sort of weaseled my way into living in a different country.
That's. I mean, so you're in Seattle now.
Yeah, yeah,
So do
yeah.
you not go back? Do you ever go back to Australia? Or?
Um, I usually, well, I just lived there for 3
Oh, okay.
years. Got back about 2 years ago now. Uh, that so I was back there for a long time. But before that, it's usually like once a year, and then sometimes I go back solo without the kids and the family if there's like a funeral or a
Right. Okay.
wedding or something like
Yeah.
that. It's an expensive haul to sort of fly a whole family back there. But this year we're going to Hawaii, and we're going to uh, going to Africa to do like a tour.
Wow. What an
Yeah,
man, that's amazing. So I know that I was saying that you get to travel, but you are really limited with where you can go with the dog. So like it's basically like Europe or
yeah,
America. So like all these other the countries that you're talking about there are the countries that like I would like to go to. Like if I could. So
yeah.
I'm very
well,
jealous.
well, like so. Do you travel like go and stay there for a long time? Is that
Yeah.
what the dogs travel with?
Yeah. So we'll work there, and sort of like stay in different like Airbnbs, basically as long as the visa will let us.
Hmm.
So just getting
Yeah,
actually having said all this, we've sorted the traveling with the dog problems. 'Cause he's got a passport now, but just it has been a real
your dog's got a
yeah,
passport.
yeah. Yeah, but life is like so much easier now with that. But before it was, all these
Yeah,
tests. In fact, it wasn't like not to give you my whole
yeah.
boring travel problems, but the
That's okay.
getting him out, getting me into other countries is easy. It's getting him back into the UK is always been a
Yeah.
bit of a sticking point. But
Is it for
nobody,
like
nobody.
shots and stuff like
Yeah,
that?
yeah. But
Yeah. So when I first lived in Australia with my wife, we bought two dogs thinking that we were going to live there for a long time. End up flying those guys over to here. Then when we moved back to Australia, one of the dogs, the other one passed away unfortunately, but flew that dog all the way back.
wow,
So this dog is
season
it was
traveler.
a little white fluffy dog. Yeah. So when we're over there, that dog's 16. She passed away. Amazing dog. So then we buy what we in Australia call like an English
Right.
Staffy. Um, you guys probably just call him a Staffy there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So we buy one over there, and then we're like, my wife's like, "Oh, I want to move back to America," and I'm like, "Okay, let's go." So we get that dog and buy that dog and bring it back over. We had the most expensive dogs for no reason.
They're gonna get accustomed to a lifestyle if you're traveling them around. So you've got to be careful.
Yeah, they're expecting
Yeah,
first
yeah.
class, like caviar dog
Got to be
food.
really
Yeah.
careful.
All right, let's jump into this. All right, we have Doddz here. This is an amazing AR creative, and he's going to jump in and do Drawn to Your Story with us and answer some questions. You ready?
I'm ready. Yeah, I didn't know if that was a rhetorical question, but yeah, thank you for having me on, Matty. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you being on here. It's epic. All right, M&Ms or Skittles?
Skittles. Oh, no,
Oh,
M&M's. Sorry, I
oh.
changed my mind.
So what made the bounce
I
between?
um, I like both. That's the
Yeah,
That's
me too.
the
I got like 32 sweet
yeah,
tooth.
yeah.
Like I've got 4
I got a
falling
real
out.
sweet tooth. Skittles. Yeah, I got a sweet tooth, and I got a real sweet tooth for chocolate. So I got M&Ms.
Mm. So I have a question for Skittles. Do you have a certain like flavors you put together when you do the
No, we're
Skittles?
just like, there's like a family trait. We call it like a JCB claw, where it's just kind of like this maneuver, just like into the bag, and then I'm not looking at them when I'm hoovering them up.
Oh,
I
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
enjoy.
yeah. So I'm usually like that, but I've started doing like because purple's the best flavor, right? We have to agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I get 3 purple and 1 red. Pop that in. Best flavor you'll ever have in Skittle world.
Do you know what? Like,
Try
I'm
that.
gonna forget about that, and then next time I've got some Skittles, I'm gonna be looking at that purple one in the face. I'll remember, and I promise I'll try it.
All right. What do you do to pay the bills?
I make augmented reality experiences for brands and myself.
That's amazing. So let's step back a little bit. Did you go to school to to do this? To like learn this stuff?
No, 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 definitely not. There's, I guess, like a whole conversation about educational career, which was not fruitful. But in terms of augmented reality, I was served an Instagram ad for a really, really basic AR experience, and at the time, I was looking
Hmm.
for an art style that when you saw it, it was instantly recognizable as Doddz the artist. And I thought the best way or the easiest way of doing that, because obviously everybody's tried everything before, is using a piece of technology that didn't exist before and therefore people haven't used it. So when I saw that ad, as I said, for a really, really basic AR experience, I tried it, loved it, and that's now my art style.
So uh you have a lot of like 3D blender sort of animation in there. Are you creating all these 3D blender models yourself?
I'm not. The answer is no. Like, I can do a little bit of Blender, but I'll work with a 3D
Yeah.
designer, or I'll buy something off the shelf and I'll redo the textures or change it slightly. But I think I would be cheating if I
Yeah.
said that I was a 3D, modeler.
Wow, it's so much work that goes into that
Yeah,
stuff. Like I've dabbled around in it, like playing around trying to create my own. And I always be like, "Man, I just spent 7 hours and I don't know what this looks like."
yeah,
Like, you
yeah.
know what I mean?
No,
Like,
I mean,
what
it's
the
painstaking. Like, hats off to any 3D designer. Like, it's so difficult. And as you said, like, you can spend hours on something and then rotate it and realize you've just spent the last 3 hours making it flat, and it's just now it looks
Yeah.
terrible. Start all over again. So
Well, doesn't it give you so much appreciation for when you see someone that does really nice 3D
yeah,
and you're like, "Oh, one, you've done the time to get to that point," but knowing that you have to do all those, like, nodules and connect all these
yeah.
like things to make the texture work and then add animation into that and rigging.
Yeah, the more I animation's like a whole separate thing, but yeah, the more I learn and like start to understand it, the more I realize that I won't be able to do it, and the more I appreciate what other people do. And certainly for augmented reality, you need a really lightweight experience. So as you just see there, like
Yeah.
if I see a really good 3D detailed 3D model that it must have been small enough to fit inside an AR experience. Yeah, I find out immediately who's done that, and I put them in the Rolodex, for future.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. So, when you got from doing like the ad that came through
Yeah.
on Instagram or wherever it was, where does it start? You start being able to do this. Like, what's the time? 2 months, 3 months, a year before you start doing this like full time for
So I
yourself.
was full time. That's a different conversation. But for the AR side of
Yeah.
things, like I was a videographer before, so like those first
Oh,
AR
okay.
experiences, it was just like learning a new piece of software. It was taking JPEGs, PNGs, or like yeah, JPEG sequences maybe, or like videos that I'm
Yep.
more than capable of doing, but putting it, instead of doing it in Premiere Pro, doing it in something else that looks like that's this AR piece of software. So the
Yep.
I mean, I'm not, they were all terrible at the beginning, but it wasn't a scary augmented reality. You know what I mean? It was like you can pick it up and do it
Yeah.
pretty much straight away. And even that was a few years ago, but now I would say it's even easier because there's more,
All the
yeah, all the
templates and
templates
everything.
and stuff like that. But in terms of going full time, I had like probably some sort of record for the slowest exit out of any business ever. It was like I was working full time, 4 days, 3 days, 2 days, and then finally went full time, and that's over probably 2 or 3 years, like really slowing down. It was only
Yeah.
because of COVID that I finally jumped to going full time. Obviously I was doing my own work, sort of like freelance before, but yeah, it was probably 2 years before I went full time. Yeah, doing this for brands.
So, did that start by you reaching out to brands? Did you have them come to you,
I
kicking
Yeah.
down the door of Nike?
So typically, it w- it's difficult because I could say I could sit here and say that I've never reached out or like pitched to a company. Like everything that we get is inbound and it always has been. And I think we started off like the first one I ever did was Adidas, and I just think from then it's just like these big brands attract other big brands, and it's so you could say that they've never done any pitching, but
Mm.
I also think that all of the briefs that have come in have gone, oh, we saw the billboard that we were talking about earlier. And then it's like, I've seen
Yep.
that. How do we do that for this campaign that's coming up? So, in some respects,
Yep.
all I'm doing is pitching through my artwork and by posting on social, like all the time, is that it's kind of a continuous but different type of pitch where they end up coming at some point in a creative meeting. AR comes up and they go, oh, I know the guy. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I would say that it's just constantly just like educating agencies and brands on like what you could actually do with this tech through the artwork that I'm making.
Mm. So, in this world, are you kind of like the AR guru to go to?
No, I mean there's better AR creators than me. I would say,
I don't. I like. I, this may be like I'm not trying to be like blow smoke up your ass kind of thing, but there's definitely a style and aesthetic to yours. Like especially when you're like holding the pictures and you're bringing that in. I don't know. I think there's definitely something to yours that are pretty cool.
it's I think at the moment because it's so new, I like say to Steph like most people don't know to a AR creator. Definitely most people don't know two. So if they know me, then like
Yeah, yeah,
if an AR comes up, then they'll think of me. But yeah, like obviously in the world of AR, I know there's other creators who probably deserve more
yeah, yeah,
share. But then there's other skills like personal branding and, as you said, like the art, the actual aesthetic and that sort of stuff. It's not necessarily who can make the best AR effect. It's like a combination of 5 or 6 skills, really. And
yeah,
and
yeah,
network,
yeah.
as you said.
Awesome. So, how do you are these UK based brands? So, like the Adidas UK brand over there, or
Mm,
like not Adidas UK, but like they're stationed over there, or is this working with the American one, which is down in
yeah,
Portland, just below
I
me?
think for the brand stuff, it's probably 50-50, maybe. I don't know. I have to get the stats up, but
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
definitely not all UK. Like they're not even just all UK or America. Like there's some European um,
Oh
brands that we
wow.
work with. But yeah, they do. I mean, just with LinkedIn and social media in general, like yeah, it doesn't necessarily feel like it's just UK based. And we spend a lot, as I said, we travel around a lot, so we spend a lot of time in the UK, so in the US. So from like the time zone situation, it kind of like
Oh yeah.
all blends in. So yeah, I'd say it's like a healthy mix, to be honest with you.
How much like creative freedom are you given? Are these brands like up your ass, like, hey, let's do it this way? And you're like, well, actually,
That gets to a point. I would also say I think the US market are probably like just like a few years ahead of like trying all this stuff. So that's probably why those brands are
mm,
kind of like more involved. Like Australia, for example, are probably like a few years behind. So like there's not many briefs from them, but as
yeah.
far as the market. But
I was going to say Australia's very insular as well. I feel when they do stuff. So you might find there might be an AR person that's their go-to
Yeah.
person over there,
Yeah.
but like we may not hear him out here.
Yeah, I've got I've my best friend lives in Sydney, and he's like runs a marketing agency, and he's just like dying to work like sell in
Oh,
the
really?
AR side of stuff for
Yeah.
the brand. Like, they're
Oh,
just
wow.
like not quite there yet, but I'm sure with time
Yeah,
it will come.
yeah,
In terms of the
yeah,
creative input, again, we're talking specifically about brands. The conversations I always like to be involved in, like from the get go, because as I said, there's an education on just like what's possible, and they might think, oh, we want to do this, and it might not be the right thing, or they just want something that's just like totally like not even possible. So it's just like managing expectations
yeah,
there. And actually, yes, you've seen this, but if your goal is, I don't know, longer dwell time, then this kind of thing, just showing that sort of thing. So I always think it's important to be involved at the
yeah,
start. And given that the brands that we've worked with and the work that we've done, and we're in the partnership um, programs for like these top tech companies, that we've got like quite an authority there. So if I say you can't do this, I'm not saying that for any other reason
yeah.
than like you can't do it. So we have
Yeah,
like,
it's not like you don't
yeah,
want to do it. You're like, "This is not
yeah.
possible
So
right
if I
now."
say this is better, it's like I'm not saying that for any personal gain. Like it probably is better. So there's a lot of authority. I think the weight that our opinion has at that beginning point. But then when it starts getting into
Yeah,
the nitty gritty, and you'll know, just working in the industry, just like when it comes to the brand guidelines, and it's got to be done this way, and like everybody's got 2 cents, their opinion on it. Then it starts getting a bit diluted. But I mean, that's just textbook marketing brands, agencies lifestyle, really.
yeah, yeah, yeah. You're gonna run into that
Mm,
stuff no matter what side of it, whether it's AR,
mm.
design, copywriting. Um, so for you, when you're out there, how hard is it for you to get people to cross the threshold of, hey, here's a picture or here's a billboard or here's something online. Now use this filter to create this AR reality. Like that threshold is a kind of tough if unless it's a Facebook filter where your eyes are
Yeah.
bubbling out and your mouth spewing out some sort of rainbow. Most people don't sort of interact with it that way. How do you cross that threshold? How do you get people to go?
But I think in terms of the artwork, they say it's like at an exhibition, like they know they're there
Oh,
for a
yeah.
reason. Or if it's so,
Hmm.
like I did an exhibition before, and instead of having you to get your phone out to then scan it, there's like an iPad there showing you already, or maybe it's like actually a webcam on a massive 80-inch screen, so you just walk up to it and it's like instantly uh,
Oh,
happening already.
yeah.
So I think you're completely right in that there is a barrier to entry. So my job is just like, how do you make that barrier as like small as possible? Yes, they're going to have to get
Yeah.
their phone out to maybe scan a QR code, but if that QR code goes straight to the Instagram filter with the camera, sorry, straight to the Instagram camera with the filter already loaded up, nobody's pressed anything yet. It's all happened in one motion, and
Yeah.
then all they've got to do is hold their phone up and point it at something. It's like a really low. That's probably about as seamless as it could get. But
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that was my dog. If you, um,
No, it's all good.
yeah, so
What type of dog
oh,
is
it's
it?
a French bulldog. He's just.
Apparently, French bulldogs are
Can you
the
see him
most
there?
popular dogs. Yeah, I can see little ears and an eye. What's his
This is
name?
Louie. He's just sitting on the
Louie.
radiator, and he's obviously not center of attention, so he's trying to correct that. Lost my trail of thought there, but oh yeah. So when okay, yes, there's a barrier to entry, but the people who have got their phones out and have now scanned the QR code, they've like committed. So they're like, for not
Yeah.
just for the artwork, but for brands, it's like the perfect thing. You've got like
Mm.
almost like a consenting adult for advertising. Like they
Yeah.
want to do whatever it is that you're about to show them. So they're
Yeah.
like much more engaged. So it's like a dream really for advertising, but then for my artwork as well, it's like really interesting. Now, what's the connection between art and viewer? It's like it's not passive; it's much
Yep.
more engaging, which brings them closer to it. So, yeah, once they cross that threshold, I think it gets really exciting.
Yeah, that's really cool. Are you excited about I think Adobe's bringing out like a location based
Yeah,
AR?
So I've seen Google have recently do it. It wouldn't surprise me if Adobe are doing something similar. I know they've got errors,
Yeah,
so they've got like a software that can do that.
yeah.
But
That's the one I started playing around with first.
yeah, that's do you know? Interestingly, that's the one that I've never tried. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Well,
I just haven't.
so what I found is, so I started doing the Spark AR, and I haven't dabbled in the TikTok version of it yet. But what I found is that to get people to download an app, like that friction barrier
Yeah,
is just so big. So it's just almost like, for me, it was like fun to do and then share that I'm playing around with this. But now I'm doing it in the Spark AR. And more people are like, oh yeah, let me have a look at that. Oh, that's cool. You know what I mean?
yeah. I mean, you can guarantee that everyone's got Instagram downloaded, and also
Yeah,
everyone knows something about like a web AR or an app or something like that. It's kind of like seems scary. It's like, what do I do? I haven't done web AR, but everybody's done. It's the
yeah,
exact same thing. Everyone's done filters, so it's like you
yeah,
know that you have to point your phone at the floor or at the at something or at
yeah,
yourself. So it's like there's less, and you've already got the app downloaded. So it just seems like for me that I think that's the best place to start. And just for an artist, obviously, I want
yeah.
you to share it on your socials. So like, why would I put it anywhere else?
Yeah, yeah. And so that's what I think the biggest struggle with. Unless they can do something where it's AR based and it's basically ran through sort of Google, and I can just put my phone up anywhere, like through the like maybe Google app, or like whether it's on Google Maps or something like that. Oh, well, here's an AR experience, and I can just hold my phone
Yeah.
up.
I think
Then
they
yeah,
I've seen stuff like that that Google is doing. I mean, it's Friday evening now, so my brain's not. But I'm sure I've seen Google Maps do some sort of like web AR stuff. But what is exciting, even just from the brands you just talked about there, like everybody's moving and working on like this version of like how we're going to experience content or like experience anything
yeah,
really. So. Um, Yeah, I just think it's a really exciting time where really nothing's off the table. Like any crazy creative idea at the moment, c- uh,
yeah,
like everyone's just exploring, trying to best understand how people will use AR in the future. So exciting.
yep, yeah. I fully I fully agree. I'm very excited for it. Probably from a selfish
Yeah,
perspective,
no,
I think.
same for me as well. Like 5 years ago, whenever it was like AR wasn't really a thing, and it was a bit of a putting all your eggs in one basket. So um, hopefully,
Yeah.
it's pay off.
Well, you became the Easter Bunny then,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I would hope so. I would hope so. But, seems like the right decision so far.
Yeah. All right. Which movie do you think you've seen the most?
Movie,
Yeah.
um, probably The Grinch or
The which one?
the 2001, the Jim Carrey one. I would say.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
really?
yeah. Just it was like just childhood Christmas reminds me of Granddad a lot. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
mischievous, fun. So yeah, probably that, but not Christmas. I'd probably say I Robot randomly. I just thought it
Wow, I was not expecting
no,
that.
that's just the one that came to mind.
With Will Smith?
Yeah, I just there was something about it. I just thought this. I don't know when it came out, but I was young and I was just like, this is just really cool. Like in the future, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's how everyone lives. Which now kind of sounds hand in
Yeah,
hand with AR, but yeah, I did like that film
yeah.
growing up. Although I haven't seen.
We're not far off
Yeah,
it.
yeah, we're not far off it. What about you?
Um, mine's pretty boring. So I don't know what you do when you're creating, but mine's like grown-ups
Oh,
probably,
okay, yeah, yeah,
or
yeah,
like because I just, if it's purely just because I have seen it the most, it's because I put it to the side on my computer or there, and I'll just be drawing,
yeah.
um, and just creating. So it's mindless. It takes a piece of that away, and then I can just focus on the drawing. Or Wild 'N Out,
What was the second one?
which is Wild 'N Out, the TV
Oh,
show,
yeah,
where
yeah,
it's
yeah,
like, so I do the same thing with that, where I just run like a big clips of that on YouTube and just have it run for, and I know the jokes, I've seen it a bunch, and then that way I can draw and focus.
no, that's good. I think probably like any Adam Sandler film, you could probably just like put on and just be in the background and
Yeah,
just like tune in every so often and be like, yeah, still funny, kind of like, carry on.
yeah. He I'm probably a bit older than you, so, like, when Billy Madison and Happy Gilmore came out, they were the greatest movies, and I was living in Australia, so I didn't know anything about Saturday Night Live, I had no idea, and I was just like, "What the heck?" So he brought me in right there.
Yeah.
So when I watch stuff now, I've sort of grown up in that age, sort of with it.
No, I mean, two strong
So
choices, I think, for, preoccupy you from work.
uh, when you visit the zoo, what animal are you most excited to see?
I went to a safari park, um, like, a few weeks ago, and I just remember seeing, uh, a rhino and being like, "What are you doing here? What are you doing here?" I just couldn't believe, like, why am I looking in my car in sort of, like, the north of England, like, looking at a rhino? Just couldn't something about it just wasn't computing that it was a real rhino, so, um, yeah, just because of recent, like, it's fresh in my mind, probably I'd say a rhino I thought was pretty
Yeah.
cool.
Well, do you know so I don't know how I know this, but probably from reading a book with my children. When people started traveling around, like, the world, they found a rhino, and they used to think it was armored plated, and it had, like, etchings on its body from, like, the big paws or, like, I don't know what they are, big plates on
Mm,
it, and they shipped this rhino around the world, and it became, like, super famous, but it
like
got,
King
like,
Kong type thing.
super sick. Almo yeah, almost, yeah.
Wow.
And because people are in the same sort of thing where they're like, "Oh, man, it's so unique. What is this animal?" You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think the same thing about, like, the platypus.
Yeah, yeah. It's just a
I
yeah, that's the only expression I think you see a platypus, and you're just like, "What's going on?"
how? So I'm not religious, but I would like to believe if there was a God and he was doing that, he had like all these spare pieces, and he's like, "Oh God, I've got to make this. I got 7 days. I got to put something together." And he just pulls all these
Yeah,
pieces together. He's like, "I got a bill. I got a tail. I got a web foot. Oh, I got one spur that's poisonous. Throw it in there."
platypus, don't ask me any questions about it, out the door type of thing. I can see that happening as
Yeah,
well.
yeah. Um, what trait of yours are you most proud of?
Trait,
Yeah.
I get up early in the morning, not like super super early, but I'm a morning person, and I like that. I feel kind of like I'm up before everyone else. Do you know what I mean? Like I got all my getting on with my to do list, and everyone else is still asleep. It's, don't know. It's just something in my competitive nature that enjoys enjoys that.
Uh,
Um,
I one. I'm very competitive, but I am the
oh
opposite.
really? Yeah, you should
Oh
learn.
god, but I'm so jealous of
Yeah.
you. Like that, I think that people that wake up in the morning are happier.
Really? Well, my
Yeah.
fiance, she is the same as you, so she'll sleep in. So like at the weekend, I feel it's just like a hack. So like I'll get up and do all my work, and then when she gets up and I haven't done, I'm like, oh, what are we doing today? Like I can be, I
Ah,
can be boyfriend or partner. So but I'm happy because I've got all my work done. So I feel like it's been a real hack to find somebody with the opposite sleeping pattern.
so my hack is my wife and I will like sit on the couch and like watch like TV show or something like that. It's our time to wind down. But I have my iPad there on my sketchbook, and I will sketch out ideas or things that or work on something. Like I was working on a children's book. I just it's about to get published sometime next year, and I was doing all the illustrations on that um,
What?
while I was working. So I was yeah. So I was like, I was sort of cutting that time in,
Yeah, no,
you know.
that is a hack. That's smart. I don't feel like
Yeah.
I could do that with like a full computer setup, just like whilst I'm trying to like uh,
Oh
watch
no,
TV. That's
I've thought the
smart.
same thing. Like with editing video, I was like, I'm not going to go down there and edit
No,
video or do that. You just need too much concentration. I'm sure there's people that could do it, but not me.
yeah, not me either. Not here.
What is your comfort food?
Uh, probably the first thing that came to mind was a peanut butter sandwich, and so much so that I don't eat them anymore because like I don't think it's possible for me to just eat like one peanut butter sandwich. Like I know that it's
Wow.
just like the peanut butter's in the cupboard over there. Do you know what I mean? Like it's gonna be on my mind. So
Yeah.
yeah, I put if there was peanut butter in the house, I'd say it's that, but there's not. It's not in the house anymore because it's a comfort food.
So Is peanut butter big over there in the UK?
Not as big as it is in the States for sure. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
it's
because it's not
available.
that big in Australia. Like, I thought, like, so in Australia, like Vegemite is as like I know you guys have Marmite right
Yeah, yeah.
over there, and so Vegemite's huge. Like, yeah, it's like the most like iconic Australian thing there probably is, other than a meat pie, which we both stole off you guys. But uh, the I like peanut butter there is just not the same. Like, so when I have to make it for my kids, I'm like, oh,
No, not.
so,
In fact, that was one of the
not
things
you.
going to the States and like seeing all the peanut butter there. It was just like, damn. It's like it's probably just like
Yeah.
it's just so much. Obviously, it's
Yeah.
super popular there.
Did you ever go to Costco when you were here?
Yeah, probably. I know he's even for like so in the UK, a Costco is basically like a Walmart or a Target. So I feel like in terms of size, like
Oh,
any
okay.
Target or Walmart, I was like, this is insane. Like this is not a simple
Yeah.
trip to the shop. It's
Well,
like huge.
but just the Costco things you can buy, like the tub of peanut butter that my father-in-law gets, it's huge. It's so
Yeah,
big.
I can
He
imagine
he
like
has it.
a couple of kilogram or something.
He has an attachment for a drill that he has to do to pre-stir it, so then he
Oh,
can
really?
use it.
Like it's wallpaper paste type thing, like that kind of.
Yeah, almost. I'm sure it's sitting in his stomach still.
Wow, that's honestly like
Yeah.
that sounds like a dream I once had, like that sort of size peanut butter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very like that, but yeah, that's definitely a comfort food for me.
Yeah. Uh, what is something you have overcome that makes you proud?
Um, I lost some weight, which was good. I was, as everybody
Yeah.
probably was, a bit bigger after COVID, than they went in. So I'm proud of having lost that. But then I don't know if there's like one monumental thing. Like I didn't like public speaking. I didn't like speaking on camera. I just like there's probably lots of confidence. Probably is one. And
Yeah.
that's probably come from losing some of the weight. But there's not really like one. Um, I don't know. I've been quite fortunate, really. Like, there's not really something that huge, like in the. I mean, I'm very, very dyslexic, but I wouldn't say that that's like. Like,
I think I'm a bit dyslexic as well, to
yeah,
be
yeah.
honest.
Well, there you go. But I don't think that there's anything particularly that I guess you don't really overcome.
That's pretty big to overcome, though.
Well,
Well, it's not like you overcome it, but
yeah,
like to work well with it. You know what I mean?
yeah. But I so Steph, she'll say that it's good, but I like that is the or I speak well for somebody who's very dyslexic, but I don't. Of all the things that you could possibly have that you'd be unfortunate to be hit set with, like if it takes me a little bit
Yeah.
longer to read or write an email or have to Google how to spell something, it doesn't really seem like
Yeah.
a bad deal.
ChatGTP has been my savior,
Yeah, I use it. I
to
use it
be
all the
honest.
time.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I mean. Like, there's just tools out there. Like now, all my emails are
Yeah.
well written because I'm typing in
Yeah.
jumble and then it's been pushed out as like a polished thing. And I do use that for
Yeah.
just even simple tasks, really. Just
Yeah. That's what
find
I
out.
use it for mainly. It's like simple tasks or like if what my like Instagram description is a shit heap. But then if I had to write an email, I'd be like, oh, this sounds good. He's got his
Yeah,
shit together.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. But I think those small things probably add up in terms of like just your perception of you. That's why I'm just like, if the email sounds better than I would write it, which even that sentence wasn't even a full sentence, but like it just goes a long way. So I think that even though they're just like small little things, Instagram, things like
Oh,
that, it just goes a long way.
I struggle with saying have seen and saw. So like I'll be like, oh, I seen that the
Yeah,
other day, rather than I have seen that. And my wife, it like grinds her gears. Like she's just like, and so I've been trying to focus on it, and then now I've sort of my brain sort of ticking on it. I noticed how dumb that I could sound,
hmm
and I go, oh wow, like I wonder how many people are like, what is this guy got going on in back there? There's there's not much.
Do you use it? Do you write like any scripts or anything like that, or do you use the chat? I use scripts for like the content I make online, but do you use it for the podcast at all? Chat GPT.
No, I honestly I only use it for uh writing the description. Like, so I'll punch in like a bunch of the description points. Like, say we do this one, I'll be like, oh, Doddz has all this stuff sort of going. Write this out as a description, and then I'll use that for these questions. I sort of write it out, and I'm just sort of winging it now and just enjoying the conversation. I feel like if there was a
Yeah,
script, it would feel ingenuine.
yeah. I think it can. I guess in terms of like questions, it can come across like quite obvious. I guess if there's because you
Yeah,
also need to be interested in the question. Do you know what I mean? So like if you
yeah,
then
yeah.
you will be. So it's interesting. Just nice to see how other people
But
use it.
I do think now think hear what you're saying, and when I look at your videos in my mind right now, you do have a really nice. I can't even get it out. You do have a really nice way of coming across, and I think the scripts actually do help that out. That I might
No,
use that actually.
you definitely should. And just for like the scripts, they're so. I work with somebody who helps me with the social media stuff, and there's like such a formula to. I mean, you obviously know, like you got to have a interesting first sentence, and it's got to have it's only going to be 1 or 2 seconds before you lose people. So it's like there's such a formula to it that like it doesn't allow for me to talk how I would just casually tell somebody about a piece of artwork. So it does need that script. And then
Yeah,
if I'm writing a script, like I'll be an idiot not to put it through ChatGPT. You can obviously do a better job than I'm not saying that it's the best in
yeah,
the
yeah,
world, but it's better than I am. So like I would obviously it makes sense
yeah.
to use it.
But I feel like no matter what, you're gonna put your own
Oh
little
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. Oh
personality
yeah. I
with it.
don't.
You know what I mean?
So my method is I'll write out this is like the artwork. This is what the idea is, and like this is kind of the point I want to make. Like this is the exciting thing about the AI. Like it goes on for 10 hours or something
Yeah,
like that. It will then spit out something, but then I'll take that as like this bones, and I'll like chop it up or write it. Perhaps it's not exactly how I would say it or something like that, but at least having that almost like a ghostwriter first bit for me to then branch off or add to or take out. Most of the time it's taking stuff out. um is the result is then that end product that you see with the post.
yeah. Oh, that just reminded me. So when you said runs for like 10 hours, the Mr. Beast one you
Yeah,
did, where it like goes with time, it's like spending it on the island. Did you do that all just on your own and then just sent it to him in hope that he would
yeah,
share
so
it,
he
or
had
the wall that he
yeah
like?
he
I actually was gonna submit that, but I forgot to.
he said that he's got this new studio wall and he wanted artwork on it. So I was like, this is, and they're going to open it on stream. So I'm like, this is
Yeah,
like it's like obviously a great opportunity. So the artwork was essentially Mr. Beast survive, like inspired by one of his videos. It was a challenge for him to
yep,
survive 100 hours in an artwork, and it basically was like Tamagotchi meets Sims. So like there was me, Mr. Beast, there's an
yeah,
island, and you could feed us, or you could entertain us, or we could work out or something like that. And it got darker throughout the day and that sort of stuff. So there's like a lot crammed in there. So when I sent it off, I was, oh,
yeah,
this is if he sees this, he's going to be very impressed. I thought. And then the parcel got lost. But then it got found again, and then it got sent just like on the day that then they put the unboxing back a week, and in that week it got found and then delivered. So I was like rubbing my hands together, going like, "Oh, we've really earned this big reward of Mr. Beast opening it and scanning it, and we'll grow 200 billion followers by the end of the day." He opened it up, and it had the instructions that explained, there's an AR component to it. Scan this QR code and do it. And they didn't scan the QR code because they thought that it might. They don't know where
oh,
that QR code's going, and it could be like hacking their Instagram account or like,
yeah,
so they didn't show the artwork, and they didn't do it, and it just kind of like I saw them open it, I saw them read it, I saw them understand what it was, and then I saw them think about it, and then I saw them say, "Oh, we're not going to do that because it's a QR code, and we don't know where it's going to go."
yeah,
So I was like, I could see it all happening in front of my eyes as it was a
yeah.
bit. Yeah, we should chalk that one up to you take a gamble and
Yeah, well, there's so many gambles. Even me reaching out to you to
Mm.
do this, I was like, "Well, let me shoot my
Yeah, definitely. I
shot."
mean, everybody looks at their Instagram DMs, don't they? Like, let's be honest. Like,
Yeah,
but
yeah. But I think that's like the stuff I saw in there. Are you doing all the coding for that, or did
well,
you get someone to help you?
um,
Because that's a big deal.
with with Spark AR, like you can build the stuff without needing to do coding. Like I don't write, I could read code, but
Yeah,
I don't write code. So there's,
yeah,
but there's also elements that, let's say the time and date thing, like that's a piece of code that I've got, and I just use it in multiple artworks. You know, like obviously pay for the time at the
yeah,
beginning, and um, so like I can reuse different bits, and the time and date one is probably the one
yeah,
that I use the most. But as I said, you could build only a fraction of the stuff that I do has scripts in. Scripts does There are obviously benefits to it, but like I'm not a scripter, so like I can't write
yeah.
code. So
Well, I was just so impressed on how it was like 100
yeah,
days at change time, like to fit all that, and you had money raining
yeah,
down. There was a lot of graphical elements to
that's what
it.
I like. I've said this before, but like the hardest thing I think is the file size limitations on all AR experience is small because it needs to
Yeah,
work in here. It needs to work in countries where internet's not great. It's like it needs to work for generally
yeah.
speaking everybody. So the yeah, so you can have really small file sizes like 4 megabytes. It's like tiny, but that then
Mhm.
forces you to like compress it or like make it as good as you can. But it does. You can only really have like, and that's why most AR experiences are like 10 seconds long, 15 seconds. Just like
Yeah,
simple effects because you can spend the whole file size could be like one model really. So when I
yeah,
was
yeah.
thinking about making artwork, my number one concern is just like how if you buy something, but it's like a one-time use filter, then you obviously that will feel really tired really quickly. So, in what way can you, even changing it just a little bit, like a 3% each time is, it's just marginally different. And then that's, you could take the time and date, and just by the time you can lower or brighten the lights in the scene, just makes it feel different, and you can, okay, on this day he's wearing red, on this day he's wearing blue, so it just feels different.
Ah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
That
there's a lot,
that's incredible.
but hopefully,
I thought there was a lot more because knowing the file size, like 4 megabytes or whatever, and seeing that, I was like, "How did he do it?" Like, because it felt so immersive to me. Like, and there was like, because you guys were doing jumping jacks at one
yeah.
time, like, and like there was a lot going
But
on.
so that
So
one, there's nothing else. Like the whole scene is basically the models, um, and then you've got different animations, but they're all on the same model. So that's way of compressing it. And then I mean, there's a huge trial and error. There was like so many more people and different challenges and stuff, and it just keeps has to get cut down to like
yeah,
it was a real squeeze to get everything in. Um,
yeah,
yeah, a real squeeze, a lot of trial and error to get it all in. But um, my throat's going. But yeah, I think that one, those ones are really interesting to me. Like you don't get it all on the first day or in the first time you
yeah, yeah,
scan it.
yeah,
Like it comes over time. It's just that's something I'm exploring a lot with my artwork.
yeah. I was trying to do one with my watch and using one of the Apple faces, and but when I do it on like I picked it, I took out all the like the hands because it was like the one that's got 12, 3, 6, and 9. I was like, oh, if I can get most of the image, then when people scan it, it can pop up on their phone, on their watch, and that'd be kind of cool. But it really picks up all the hands, and I was like, oh, maybe if I did it where it was only on like 11:11 every day, they could only
Yeah,
do it. But I was like, my following in that is just not big enough for people to like invest
yeah.
that time yet. But
Yeah, that's a nice idea because just did a piece of artwork where it was a music performance, but he only performed once a day, and again, it's like restricting people to just something about not being able to access it anytime they want kind of puts like a bit of demand on,
Yeah.
makes it feel that little bit special, like you've got to be there. So I
Yeah.
like that idea. It's nice.
Yeah.
Similar to some of the stuff that I've been working on as well. So I would do
Yeah.
it. I think you should do
Interesting.
it.
All right, I'll give it a crack. Maybe I'll do it if I make for the illustration I make for you, and you can only view it at a certain time.
I would like that. That would make me feel very special.
All right. What are 3 things that you were grateful for?
um, freedom. Um,
Ooh, good one.
my partner is very very understanding, and
Does your partner travel with you when you go to all these
yeah. So
places?
yeah, we work together, but in
Okay.
fairness to her, I think like I don't know if I would have done it, but she took a big gamble to be like, I will, support the work that I'm doing and leave what job she was doing to then work on the. We work quite well in the fact that I'm creative and she's very organized, so she gets
Oh
to
yeah.
handle all that stuff. Which frees up my creativity. But yeah, she's very very understanding, which I'm very very grateful for.
Yep. Uh, so you've got
Oh yeah,
freedom, your
um,
missus, and the third one.
I've got to say Louie, really, haven't I? I've got to say, he, well, he
I think we need to pop him up in the
yeah
video
yeah,
because
I'll
if
get him now. Seems like an appropriate time. So
yeah,
this is Louis.
Louis.
So although
Yeah,
he's
he's cute.
like just taking him out for walks, and like their unconditional love with the just like the busyness
Oh,
of life and work, it's just like takes you out a little, for a step or
yeah.
two.
So
How could you stay mad at
I
his
have
face? Do you know what I mean?
uh I have 2 dogs
Mm.
now. One which is a staffy, and the other one is a Bichon Maltese, this little white fluffy thing. But I like to think of them. Did you ever see the movie The Golden Compass?
Uh, is that like a polar exploration thing, or is that something?
Yeah, like sort of. But the bigger part one is they have these like magical creatures that are all different animals, and that's their like spirit animals.
Right.
And I like to think of my dogs like, because I just take them everywhere. I'm like, all right, jump in the car, let's go. And like one dog sits in the seat, one dog props up and is like right next to me and it's like watching the car drive. And I'm like, they're just like my little like golden compass, like little animals that just follow me around.
Yeah, you've got
Yeah, I love
their own
them.
little lives. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. They make choices. Like I don't know, my dog will be walking along and it'll just be like, I'm going to go left instead of go right. Like I have no idea why you're making that decision.
Yeah, I think that's like probably my favorite thing to do is just try and wonder what the hell's going on inside that little head.
Oh
Just
yeah.
like
It, a dog just goes and like I've got one dog. It'll just lay anywhere. It does not give an f. It'll just be like, I'm laying
yeah,
here, and it'll just lay in the middle of like where all the people are walking around. And be like, you guys can walk around me. I'm like, have you got no survival instincts? Like, are you just or you do not just give an f? Like, where are we sitting on this?
no, it's very yeah. Louis does something very similar where it's just like, yeah, this is good. This is just go here. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's very very spoiled.
yeah,
Yeah, it brings me a lot of joy.
yeah. Would you ever get Louis a partner in
I don't
crime?
I don't think so. If I'm being completely honest,
No.
I got Louis again. Not to dive into like the whole dog situation, but I got Louis
Yeah, yeah.
when I was young, and I obviously love him to death. But he
Ah,
does. I do
yeah,
like to travel. We just with work
yeah.
travel, and it's difficult to travel with him. So I don't think that I was like 22 or something like
True.
that. So it's like I don't think
Yeah.
given I wouldn't going back. I don't think I'd get a dog at 22. But like through circumstances, I got this
Mm,
dog. Um, I got Louis anyway. So I don't think I would get him a partner, but I'd probably get another dog at
a later stage or
stage. Yeah.
something. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, I will
He's very
say.
independent. I will say that. I don't know how well he would deal with some very lonely
Yeah.
child energy. Do you know what I mean? Like he's I can say as a lonely child.
Uh, were you an only child?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I can see the
Oh wow.
personality traits of being
Oh,
center of attention.
you guys are like when they say like toddlers parallel play, like you and Louie just parallel play. You don't do anything together. You're just like, oh, we're walking together. We're just hanging out.
Yeah, I was staring at me. I think he thinks it's dinner time. Prep.
Yeah. Well, it could be for him because this is the last question. Um, you have to wear a shirt with a slogan on it for a year.
Mhm.
What does it say?
What, like a brand slogan or just anything?
No, whatever you make up.
So the Doddz, I tried to do some like branding for Doddz. I don't know if you want a short answer or, or a long answer, but I started to do some branding for Doddz art. Like, what is the mission? Like, what is it that I'm trying to do with the art? And it was always about, it always came
Yeah.
back to entertain through experience. So it was about, I
Entertain.
like,
Oh
why
wow.
I make art is because I enjoy seeing somebody else experience the work that I've made, or like be able to relate to an emotion or something that I was feeling at the time that I made it, and being able to see that is what brings me joy. So the motto is definitely experience, no, entertaining through experience.
Entertaining through experience. I actually love
Yeah,
that. That's great.
it was been, there's variations of that, and it's kind of got whittled down to these three words at the end. But I like it because I won't always do canvases. Like, maybe I'll do a T-shirt, or maybe I'll do an exhibition. But at the heart of any of the even a piece of content or a vlog or whatever, it's about just entertaining, or through experience, which is basically what is AR, isn't it? It's just a immersive
Yeah.
experience. I guess it's like the marketing cliche for it. But so yeah, that would be the slogan I think I would wear.
That's awesome. Well, uh, I like how that ties in really well.
No,
That's it.
that feels
We're
that
done.
feels like a good way
You
at
can
the
go.
end, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Uh, thanks, Doddz, for being on, and thanks for making time.
No, of
And
course.
I know you're a busy dude, so I'll get an illustration off to you. Well, I'll create one and figure out what I do, and then but you only be able to see it at 11:11.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me on, Matty. I appreciate it. I can't wait to see
Nah, you're a legend. Thanks so much. I'm more stoked on this end than that. So awesome. Well, I'll let you get to your night if you want, and thanks to your missus for letting me borrow the time, and thanks to
No,
Louie.
of course. It's been great to meet you. Thank you for reaching out. Yeah,
Of
I've enjoyed
course.
it. It's nice.